In the ancient city of Mecca, the air was thick with tension. It was a city ruled by idols of stone and men of iron will. But in this darkness, a single light had been kindled, the message of pure monotheism, brought by a man named Muhammad, peace be upon him. For years, he had pleaded, persuaded, and prayed, calling the people of Mecca to worship the one true God, Allah. But his path was anything but easy. It was a trail of scorn, persecution, and open hostility. The elite of the Quraysh tribe, men like Abu Jahl, the self-proclaimed father of ignorance, and even the Prophet's own uncle, Abu Lahab, dedicated themselves to extinguishing this light. Imagine the Prophet standing peacefully in prayer at the holy Kaaba, only for Abu Jahl to order the filth and guts of a camel dumped upon his back while he was in prostration. Imagine his followers, poor and without protection, being tortured, relentlessly shackled, and left to scorch on the burning sands, martyred for their unwavering faith. The mockery was vicious. They called him a madman, a poet, a sorcerer, anything to turn people away. Then the darkness deepened. A year came that would be known as the Am al-Hazan, the year of sorrow. The Prophet lost two of his greatest pillars of support, his beloved wife Khadijah, the very first person to believe in his message, and his protective uncle, Abu Talib. With Abu Talib gone, the enemies saw their chance. The Prophet's physical safety was now compromised. Every door seemed to shut. He traveled to the nearby city of Taif, seeking refuge and acceptance, but was met with a hail of stones, chased out by children until his shoes filled with blood. He was utterly alone, physically exhausted and overwhelmed with grief. Yet his conviction never wavered. His persistence was superhuman. He simply continued his mission, preaching enlightenment, hope, and compassion. It was in this very moment, this abyss of isolation and despair, that Allah, the Most High, chose to honor his servant with a gift beyond all earthly comprehension, Al-Isrā wal-Miʿrāj, the Night Journey and the Ascension. One night, as the Prophet Muhammad rested in Mecca, the roof of his house opened, and the great angel Jibreel descended. The journey began with a spiritual preparation. Jibreel led the Prophet to the area of the Kaaba, where his chest was gently opened, not to inflict pain, but to purify and strengthen his heart. It was washed with the holy water of Zamzam and filled with wisdom and unwavering faith, making him the perfect vessel for the miraculous journey ahead. Then came the steed of the night, Al-Buraq. This was a magnificent white creature, larger than a donkey but smaller than a mule, radiating light. Its speed was beyond human limits. Its stride stretched as far as the eye could see. Mounted on Al-Buraq, accompanied by Jibreel, the Prophet Muhammad began the first leg of the journey, Al-Isrā, the night travel from Mecca to Jerusalem. A journey that took caravans months was completed in a fraction of a single night. Along the way, Jibreel stopped the Buraq at several sacred places. The Prophet dismounted to pray at the future land of his migration, Medina, at Mount Sinai where Allah had spoken to Prophet Moses, and at Bethlehem, the birthplace of Prophet Jesus. These stops were a profound acknowledgement, linking the past, present, and future of monotheism. Finally, they arrived at their destination, Al-Masjid al-Aqsa, the farthest sanctuary in Jerusalem. There, in that blessed, holy place, a magnificent congregation had assembled. All the prophets, all the messengers sent by Allah throughout time, from Adam to Noah, Abraham, Moses, and Jesus stood waiting. It was an intergenerational parliament of prophethood. And in a moment of unparalleled honor, Jibreel gestured to the Prophet Muhammad to step forward. He led them all, every single prophet, in prayer. This was the declaration: Islam was not a new religion, but the final complete form of Allah's one message. Muhammad, peace be upon him, was Imam al-Anbiya, the leader of all the prophets. After the prayer, the second part of the miracle began, Al-Miraj, the ascension to the heavens. From Jerusalem, the Prophet Muhammad and Jibreel began their ascent, rising through the 7 layers of the cosmos. At the gate of the first heaven, they were greeted by Prophet Adam, the father of humanity, who welcomed his noble son. In the 6th heaven, the Prophet met Prophet Moses. Moses wept, not out of sadness, but in awe, acknowledging that a young man sent after him would have more followers entering paradise than he. Finally, in the 7th heaven, the Prophet Muhammad was greeted by Prophet Abraham, leaning his back against the heavenly Kaaba. The journey continued higher, past the Lot tree of the utmost boundary, Sidrat al-Muntaha, a point beyond which no created being, not even the mighty angel Jibreel, could proceed. Jibreel stopped, saying, "If I were to proceed a little further, I would be burned." The Prophet Muhammad went forward alone. He was honored with an audience with Allah, the Most High. In that divine meeting, Allah bestowed the most critical gift upon the Prophet and his community, the command for 50 daily prayers. As the Prophet descended, he met Moses again, who advised him, "Your community cannot bear 50 daily prayers. Go back and ask your Lord for a reduction." With Moses' persistence and Allah's immense mercy, the Prophet returned again and again until the number was reduced to just 5 daily prayers. Yet, due to Allah's generosity, the reward for those 5 prayers remained the reward of 50. A miracle of mercy. The journey was now complete. He was taken back to al-Aqsa, rode the Buraq once more, and returned to Mecca, all before the first light of dawn. His bed was still warm. The next morning, the Prophet knew he had to speak. His cousin begged him not to tell the people of Mecca, knowing their disbelief would only fuel their violence. But a true prophet cannot conceal a divine truth. He went to the assembly of the Quraysh, where the elders were gathered. He addressed them, "Last night I journeyed to Jerusalem, ascended to the heavens, and now I have returned." The reaction was immediate and explosive. Laughter erupted. Whispers turned to loud shouts of derision. Abu Jahl, who had tortured the Prophet relentlessly, saw this as the final proof that Muhammad was truly mad. He called everyone to gather and hear the preposterous story. "Muhammad, you claim to have traveled in a single night to Jerusalem and back." Abu Jahl demanded, his voice thick with scorn. "If your claim is true, then describe for us the temple in Jerusalem. We have merchants who travel there and know its every detail." This was the ultimate test. The Prophet Muhammad had never been to Jerusalem before. Humanly, he should have failed. The Prophet later described that in that critical moment, Allah brought the entire city of Jerusalem into clear view before him. And so the interrogation began. "How many gates does it have?" They challenged. "It has this many gates," the Prophet replied, pointing and counting them one by one. "Describe its construction. Tell us about its architecture." They shouted. He described the mosque, the shape of its doors, the columns, the arches, the location of the water cisterns, and the general appearance of the surrounding structures. He gave details that only someone who had been inside the complex could possibly know. The merchants and travelers in the crowd stood stunned. One by one, they had to admit that every single detail the Prophet described was absolutely and undeniably correct. They had been there. They could not refute a single word. Still, Abu Jahl and the hardcore skeptics weren't satisfied. They dismissed it as magic. The Prophet, without prompting, gave them a final proof. He told them that on his journey back, he had passed a specific caravan of travelers, detailing where they were, when they would arrive, and even that one of their camels had gone missing. He even described the physical appearance of the leader of the caravan. Days later, the caravan arrived exactly as predicted. The travelers recounted finding their lost camel and the events described by the Prophet. But even with all this proof, the stubborn heart of Abu Jahl and the others refused to accept the truth. "It is nothing but a powerful clear magic," they declared and walked away. However, many of the learned men, particularly the Jews who knew the Holy Land intimately, were compelled to privately acknowledge that only a man granted knowledge of the unseen could have. recounted the details of al-Aqsa so flawlessly. For the hearts of the faithful, this night journey was the ultimate verification. It was Allah's way of saying, "The world has rejected you, Muhammad, but the universe is open to you. Your status is supreme, you are the leader of the prophets, and your mission will prevail." This story isn't just history. It's a declaration of divine support, a testament to the power of prayer, and a beautiful promise that after the darkest hour of sorrow comes the greatest gift of ease. Thanks for watching.